back. Thandiwe Ntshinga's book, BRB, stands as a powerful reflection of the experiences and challenges faced by individuals who confront racism and white supremacy in their daily lives. The title itself is derived from a hurtful and derogatory slur hurled at Ntshinga when she bravely shared her insights on these issues through the platform of TikTok, highlighting the persistent presence of racism and hate that continues to plague our society. To tell us more about the book, Thandiwe joins us now in studio. Thandiwe, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Good to have you. What inspired the title of your book, BRB, and how does this title reflect the experiences and challenges you faced?
Well, I didn't call myself a BRB. It was hurled at me. It was a comment at an angry... It was a comment by an angry person trying to, I guess essentially silence me, but then it really talks or speaks to kind of the lack of understanding of racism to make up this idea of black racism. That's really not a thing. So it's almost that, just an analysis of whiteness. The book is based on critical whiteness studies. That's where my background is.
Okay.
So it's almost 10 years of research that is brought together on TikTok, my experiences on TikTok.
Yeah, can you share more on that incident on TikTok that led to the hurling of this slur?
I was talking about racism. I talk about, my research has been on poor whites, my academic research has been on poor whites, and then just generally, I went to UCT, Stellenbosch, and Wits. So I was talking about racism at these universities. So just that, just sharing experience of racism, and then also my research on poor whites got people angry.
Yeah, and speaking of, sharing about such incidents and experiences, how do you believe incidents like that particular outburst on TikTok help us understand, the history of our past?
I mean, it shows that we don't have any understanding of racism to begin with.
Yes.
We talk about racism a lot. There's a lot of discussions on racism, but I think we talk around racism, and actually there's a focus on the oppressor on the oppressed as opposed to the oppressor.
Yes.
So I think that's what it shows, that the conversation has not been had in a way that's quite beneficial, which is why in South Africa every time it's like, how will we still like this? And we're still like this because the conversation is not being had properly.
How much work do you think needs to be done to, dismantle white supremacy in South Africa?
A lot of work. I don't think it's definitely going to not happen in my lifetime, that's for sure.
Sure.
How long did it take, right? How long has colonialism, we always talk about these 400 years, like it's going to take a lot longer than the 30 years we've had.
There's always been a debate that still rages on to this very day by the other race, which argues that why is the focus only on white racism? Why are we not focusing on black racism?
Because black racism doesn't exist. That thing is a fallacy. The structures, yes, because these structures are whites. Black racism just does not exist. You cannot reverse it. Racism is something that belongs to white people. We can talk about other things. We can talk about prejudice. We can talk about dislike, but there is no black racism.
What about blacks who hate on white people to a point where they start hurling profanities, the same profanities that white people hurl on black people? So what do you make of that? Does that not make it black racism?
No. Where's the power? Where's the power behind it?
Okay. So it has to do with power for it to, for it to be called racism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. White power. Even the definition, it's not, I think the old definition used to be, it's one race hating another race. And then even that kind of got updated. To be like, no, it is actually white attitudes and white people who have the power to be racist.
Okay. So Thandiwe, in your opinion, what are some of the barriers, the barriers or the misunderstandings that exist in society that lead or trigger to such outbursts?
It's the protection of white comfort. Whiteness, critical whiteness, for instance. My whole thing is making white people the subject of analysis. That doesn't happen. There's always the focus on the other. So it's really difficult when you've never been a subject of analysis. You resist being analyzed. So that, I think, is the pushback. In fact, I've called it the white lash, is that you just cannot be analyzed, you cannot be critiqued because the colonial gaze belongs to one group.
And how do you hope that this particular book, BRB, will help foster an understanding of, the impacts of white supremacy?
I mean, it's part of anti-racism. Any work on anti-racism, we hope to just dismantle whiteness. So I really do hope that people can read this, can learn. I've also, reactions that I've gotten, a lot of young people are like, wow, the study does exist. So it's just also to show people that there is this field of study that is hidden, but it's there.
There have been anti-racism laws that have been punted by our government. Do you think that if those laws could be enacted and more effective, would that be an effective tool to end racism?
Yeah, we can hope so. Policies, but at the same time, it's difficult. South Africa's good at policies, but not that great at implementation. So it also, we have to change our thinking. There has to be an understanding, really, of like race and racism, and not a fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what role then do you think storytelling plays in terms of dismantling racism and white supremacy?
Sharing our stories is very important. Even in critical whiteness studies, it's very dominated by white academics.
Sure.
So to be black and to write this is also part of decoloniality. So it's really important, storytelling, representation. I've had actually a lot of black women just being like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. For so many people who are watching this interview who would love to get a deeper understanding of your personal story and the experience you endured, and just to get a copy of this book, where can they get it?
Exclusive Books has it. Actually, all your main bookstores.
Okay.
But Exclusive Books did promote me, so that's the one that really has me in stock.
Right.
Online, Amazon. That's where you can get the book,
All right. Thandiwe, lovely chatting to you.
Thank you.
Great story this is. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Great stuff. That was author, writer, activist and researcher Thandiwe Ntshinga talking to us about her book, BRB, and how she used the slurs hurled against her to have an open dialogue about racism, privilege and discrimination.